Okay, so I'm getting a lot of people requesting and asking me to please cover all the latest news surrounding Bill Gates and, of course, Event 201. And I wanted to specifically talk about these issues with a backdrop to all the latest information coming in right now and asking the question whether this is happening because of gross incompetency or some kind of maniacal, diabolical plan. And there's a lot to get into, so this will definitely be a very interesting video. And since we're not mainstream media shills, this video and many other videos that we do exist mainly because of your support. One easy way to support us is by checking out one of our affiliates. We just have a brand new one called cleanhealthyhappy.com that has some supplements, hand sanitizers, and filters from a company that I personally trust since, again, it's one of my friends that owns and operates this business. He has a great reputation. He has a great product. And if you're looking for any of these items, just check out the link down below. Now, Bill Gates is a very controversial figure, to say the least. He is also in the news right now after coming out and saying recently that the United States would return to normal life sometime in April, and that the projections that Donald Trump has that we will be back in business by Easter are unrealistic. Also specifically coming out saying that there needs to be a mass shutdown of everything in order to stop the spread of this virus. And he is also launching a new initiative with Facebook founder Android Mark Zuckerberg to fight the current sickness that, of course, everyone is dealing with right now, with Zuckerberg pledging $25 million and Bill Gates pledging $50 million towards their new initiative, which will be working on finding, testing, and producing new drugs to deal with the current situation that everyone is dealing with right now. Now, very interestingly, Bill Gates has been actually talking about a global pandemic for a very long time now. There's even a 2015 TED Talk video of him specifically warning about pretty much the same exact situation that we're in right now. And in November of last year, he was a part of other major institutions like banks, private globalist corporations, the CDC, World Economic Forum, and of course his own Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to put on an event that was called Event 201 that literally simulated a major pandemic all over the world, even with their own special fake CNN breaking news broadcasts. And it was very eye-opening to see them predominantly focus a lot of their time on supposed fake news. Look at this hit piece that they just released during this event 6 weeks before the first death from this sickness in Wuhan.
The overwhelming amounts of and misinformation circulating over the internet. In some cases, limited internet shutdowns are being implemented to quell panic.
Yeah. And essentially, if you watch the whole event, which you could watch on YouTube, anyone could watch it right now, there's a lot of emphasis and talk about controlling all information and only allowing central, key, powerful figures to control what people know, which I want to demonstrate in a little bit is actually very dangerous towards everyone and not the right thing to do, as again, these people effectively call for censorship. And I'm going to tell you why that's bad in a little bit, but here's more from these supposed experts.
The moment to assert that they're a technology platform and not a broadcaster is over. They, in fact, have to be a participant in broadcasting accurate information and partnering with the scientific and health communities to counterweight, if not flood the zone, of accurate information, because to put the genie back in the bottle of the misinformation and disinformation is nigh impossible.
He's talking about Facebook, by the way.
We haven't spoken about, and I'm wondering whether it's time to talk about this, is a step up from the part of the governments on enforcement actions against fake news.
Yes, the government should enforce what you can and cannot hear. That's some of the emphasis that, again, it's extremely backwards, anti-First Amendment rhetoric that's extremely dangerous, especially in a time of need for information that's being hidden from us as government officials and the official voices that this event was promoting, like the World Health Organization and the Surgeon General, have been telling you not to wear masks, which again is just an absolute travesty of disinformation, since, of course, masks do work in so many ways to help prevent the spread of influenzas, diseases, viruses. They have worked. This is why countries that it's culturally acceptable to wear masks are dealing with this crisis a lot better than, of course, the countries where it's not socially acceptable to wear these masks. But the Surgeon General, now the World Health Organization, are spreading dangerous disinformation. Why? Because they won't tell you that there's a shortage of masks, even though you can make them at home. And there's a big disinformation effort making this situation way worse than it is right now. They were also talking about promoting mainstream media voices. Again, the same mainstream media voices that were telling you that this is nothing to worry about, this is the flu, it will go away, while of course we here on it as independent media, we're taking it very seriously. And because of that, we're getting punished. There's been a huge figurative hammer on our independent media organization slammed down on top of us because of our accurate reporting on this. And again, you look at our reporting, we've been spot on right. And what happens? We get demonetized, downranked in the algorithm. Hundreds, if not thousands, of subscribers a day get unsubscribed from this YouTube channel without even clicking the notification button. And in many essence, what they talked about during this event in November is already implemented, as independent media is getting screwed, while of course wrong, disinformation, mainstream media garbage voices are being accelerated and promoted to you, making this situation that much worse. And again, that's just one blatant reason out of many reasons why their kind of call for total control of information is very dangerous in their pandemic simulation. That's, again, extremely eerily similar to the current situation that we're dealing with right now. The only major difference is that this sickness in their simulation came from Brazil. Of course, this one came from China. Also, another inconvenient fact for the World Health Organization that is also extensively running defense for the Chinese government. Now, when it comes to Bill Gates, who was one of the sponsors of this event, again, we're talking about one of the richest men in the world. If you thought your money-hungry boss was a sociopath, imagine what one of the world's richest men is like. And I question his character because it deserves to be questioned, since of course he lied to the American people many times beforehand. Specifically, the most egregious case was recently about his relationship with international child abuser Jeffrey Epstein, who he said he had no relationship with, even though he had many public meetings, which, because of only public pressure, he was able to come out and say, yes, I, quote, made a mistake in judgment about the many times that I met a convicted abuser of children, who, by the way, was working with the top upper echelons of government, had protection from local police departments, prosecutors, judges, prison officials, and of course was connected to many secret government agencies, as of course he was procuring children and bringing them to his private island filled with the top celebrities, media moguls, and politicians in the world, as well as technocrats like Bill Gates, who, again, it just came out, had a closer relationship with him than he admitted. And the reason I'm bringing this up, not just to question the character of Jeffrey Epstein, but one similarity, one common factor between Bill Gates and this convicted child abuser who was hurting thousands of children in ways that they could never heal from ever in their lives. The thing that connects them is that they both talked about the theory of population control. Again, there was no hidden secrets about this, especially many professionals deeming Jeffrey Epstein a known eugenicist. Now, of course, Bill Gates made other previous comments before about the need to lower the population of the world. And as we know, population control is a widely debated topic in the science community. But again, all the data shows that it is just an absolute farce. Yes, if you look at the population growth and projections of its decline soon, if you look at the number of people in the world that could fit just in Texas alone, this myth of overpopulation is, what I said in my own professional opinion, a myth. And this myth is usually perpetrated by the most richest, the most affluent, and the most power-hungry in our society, who use this call of population control as a way to extort more power and resources for themselves, while screwing everyone else. A lot of these individuals also talk about their fixation for global government, and there's no denying that many people will use the current crisis that's happening right now to benefit off of it and to push for their own objectives. It's also important to note that Bill Gates also did a very recent AMA where he allowed people to ask him whatever they wanted. And in that AMA, he even talked about a bolder and bigger mandatory vaccine program that he intends the government to implement, including even giving people a, quote, digital certificate, a digital barcode to be scanned to see who was vaccinated and not vaccinated. And again, all of this reads like it's literally out of Brave New World, where your medical information and history would be stored as a tattoo below the surface of the skin. Again, this is the same Bill Gates who talked about how we need more vaccines in order to lower the population. Now, personally, I am not a vaccine expert or a medical professional at all, but it doesn't take that, and it doesn't take common sense to understand that a person who is lying to you, a person who has gained the most amount of wealth than anyone else in the world through whatever means, shouldn't just be blindly trusted. He should be questioned. And as more vaccines are being developed right now to deal with the crisis that we're dealing with now, I would urge, again, skepticism, since of course the medical industrial complex, the pharma industrial complex does not have the best record. As I've previously talked about how Baxter, one of the biggest pharma industrial complex industries out there, previously almost spread the bird flu all throughout Europe. There's also Bayer that knowingly spread HIV, knowingly, in order to make a profit. And these are the companies, as well as other organizations like the World Health Organization, that you want us to trust. Again, the World Health Organization that literally focused a lot of its response about bad language because people were saying the virus came from China. That's what they were focusing on, literally protecting China. The head of the World Health Organization also is very favorable to China since he is friends with the president and also has very left-leaning totalitarian beliefs that are exemplified in China. Now, looking at just all that data and information, you would think that everything is coordinated, everything is well planned, that everything is just set for a trajectory of a massive power grab and a loss of liberty, which could potentially be the truth. But there's also another scenario here that I want to lay out for you to really consider, because as I began this video laying out the two scenarios here, I think both of them are worth considering and looking into. And the second kind of scenario is that there's gross incompetency and idiot bureaucratic government officials who are just lazy, unprepared, and have extremely low IQ to handle the current situation that we're in, as we're getting internal emails showing that there is utter chaos, disorganization at the CDC and many other government officials where literally they contradict each other. The president and the vice president contradicted each other. The surgeon general and the CDC contradicted each other. And there is no real organization, but a lot of fumbling according to some of the evidence here, which is worth considering. It could be that the Surgeon General and the World Health Organization are lying only to make sure that they procure medical equipment just for their medical professionals and not no one else. But again, still, this is just absolutely wrong because people could make their own masks and that would make the biggest difference, but that's another thing. Another thing that makes me question everything is the fact that the mainstream media underplayed this significantly. Some media organizations still underplay the significance of what's happening right now, which again, if there was more of a coordinated front and a plan, I would think that they would take this more seriously to make sure other people take it seriously as well, but that hasn't been the case. They haven't taken this seriously, and in response, people didn't as well. There was even government officials literally telling people, yeah, go out to a parade, everything's gonna be fine, don't be racist and bigoted. Prioritizing a parade over, of course, doing the logical, smart thing. Specifically in New York City, that right now is the epicenter of all of this, where media organizations ran headlines talking about we can't have a parade be a victim of this misinformation about this virus, which again is just absolute dereliction of duty, incompetence, low IQ thinking, and just stupidity. And that to me could also be an example of why we're at the current situation that we're in, that again could have been avoided. A lot of the problems, a lot of the situations, a lot of the things that we're dealing with right now, we saw coming. Some people, including some independent media, including us, we're telling you, ringing the alarm bells. This situation's coming to a head. Be responsible, be prepared, be smart, while, again, a lot of government officials and media organizations just downplayed it. So any of these two scenarios could be true, but one thing that is without a doubt true is that there's a lot of people scared, there's a lot of people suffering, and there's going to be elitist buttholes that profit off of this crisis that we should know about, that we should try to prevent all of those things from happening by being responsible and prepared for ourselves. Again, the human toll here is vast. We should be taking it seriously. How it happened and why it happened? Was it deliberate? Was it incompetence? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below, because I always appreciate your feedback, the dialogue, the conversations, the comments. I really love digging down into them, and this is why I'm doing this video, because you requested it so much. Anything else you want me to research, study, look into, let me know, and I will make sure to do so. And I do that because I work for you. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here, and this is why. I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.